hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. And welcome to episode number 2, season 1 of our new talk show called Let's Talk About It. Hi, everybody. My name is Carlita. I'm the founder of the blog His Chosen Ship. And here is Let's Talk About It, where we try to have conversation that changes the world by challenging your perspective. Here is the idea. We have a panel of people from different background, different group age, different way of thinking, diversity. I mean, by definition, and we talk about different subject from society, family, finance to even taboos. Things that we don't like to talk about in our community. So, as I'm welcoming the guests, please, I want to see you in the comments. I want to see your interactions. We want you to be part of the conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about love. What is love? This is a big word. Let's see how this is going to turn out. We always know how it starts again, but we never know how it ends. So, welcome, Donovan.
Hey.
Hey. And then Akita, aka our Jainaba is here with us. Wilfried. Hi guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
How was your week, guys?
Whew. Busy.
Busy, I was about to say so as well.
I thought I was the only one with like a busy week, but clearly not.
Every
week I'm busy.
It was a thing this week, isn't it? So as we wait for the other members of the panel to join us, maybe shortly, let's start with roundtable, guys. Like, what is love for you guys? What were you guys thinking about when we introduced this subject in the group? What was your thought? What is your short intro about what love is? And again, for those who are watching us from the first time, introduce yourself, tell us where you're joining us from, and then let's go. Who's starting? We hear you a little bit from far away, Wilfred. I don't know if you can.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? It's better?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I would say ladies first, like as always. We always are gentlemen here.
Come on, Jainaba.
Okay, I'll start there. So my name is Jainaba. For those who don't know me, I was born and raised in Senegal, but now I'm currently living in Paris. So I'm working as an asset and liability manager in finance. I'm married and I have 2 kids, a girl who's 7 and a boy who's 4. So I've joined this panel just to have this, as you said, Carlita, to have an overview and have different background people talking about different subjects. So when we start talking about love, basically, I just want you to know whether we were talking only about love in a man and women relationship or parents and children relationship, this kind of love, or friendship, which is also a kind of love. So I don't know where we're going to be focusing on. So for me, there are different level of loves. So as a mother, I think that the love that I have for my kids is like the unbeatable love, I would say. And now I also understand what my parents used to tell me about love. And for me, it's something that's unbreakable. I also have my friendship love. I don't know whether you know, but I have one of my friends we met when we were 4. So she's like a sister to me. And that's a love also that I just can't even thinking about living without her. And I also now have my husband. That's a different love. And so I like to think about my husband as being my partner, being someone that's here and supports me, but also trying to push me in doing things in a better way. It's also the first person my go-to person. Whenever there's something wrong happening in my life, I have my mom, but now also my husband. So I know that there are 2 people that are just like amazing. and I know that I can just like rely on them on a daily basis. And I think that's something that is important. I have faith in him. It's not only love; it's also faith that I have in him. And and for me, love is something that's also someone who loves you no matter what. And the person loves you with your bad sides and your good sides as well. So that's very important. That's not someone that's trying to change you, because that's very important for me. And we're gonna maybe have to discuss a bit later, because I know that I used to date some guys that wanted someone different, and I hated that thing. So for me, it's very important to be in a relation with someone that takes you the way you are. So for me, the love is respect, and just like take you the way you are, even though that person tries to improve, but already happy with what you are. That's what I think
Okay,
about love.
so bottom line for Jane about love, no matter what, if you're talking about like from a mother or parents to a children, or from a partner side, or from a friendship, love is respect. Love is somebody who just take you the way that you are and eventually help you grow into a better person.
That's it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Awa, your turn.
So, again, my name is Awa. I'm 34 and I have a 5-year-old girl, and that I love so much unconditionally. So for me, love is wonderful when it's on the good side. So it's a mix of emotion and care and also respect, like Jennifer said. This is a big part of love. And also, I would say that there is, of course, all kinds of like different type of love, like the biologically, that is you have for your parents, for your family, for your friends, and there is that one, the love relationship, um, which can be also defined in different words. And when it's great, it's great. When you love the right person, it's great. But when you love the bad person, it's toxic. So, yeah, well, we're going to have a great conversation tonight, I believe.
Yeah, I think this conversation is going to be great because you're already introducing like I would say the extreme parallel to love, which we often say that there is a fine line between love and hatred. So it's interesting to know how what we call love to the with the wrong person can be like destructive. So the question is that still love though? If it is with the wrong person, is that still love? That is a question that we're gonna might want to try to answer this evening as we enter into the conversation. So don't this go ahead.
Okay, for me, I would say love is it's a consciousness for me. I say love is a consciousness because it's a state of being. It's a state of being that you choose to be in or out of. And in all the different facets of it, um, it's your mindset. And that mindset is going to drive all the actions, all the thoughts, basically everything that happens from that point on. So I'll keep it short so that when we get into the discussion, we can talk about it more. But I guess if I had to kind of capsulate it in one thing, I would say that love is a consciousness.
Already taking it higher, don't this? This is kind of deep, okay? Like you didn't came here to play. We're afraid. What is love for you?
Hey guys, yeah. I would say, as Janaba say, right now, love is respect. Love is something serious. Love is, for me, love is a foundation of every relation, even if friendship, relationship, or family, everything is around love. You can do many things with love. You can do many better things with love or around love. But love can make us strong or make us weak. But we have to be ready for love. And the most important thing for love is the thing we are doing in our heart, because love is about heart. We are talking about heart. We are not talking about head, but we are talking about heart. And everything we are doing with our heart have to be out like action, because the world is not enough to be kind of love. But because the thing is getting out for our heart is about love. When is becoming like action is the way love. But when you are just talking, is you are just going in a you are just going in open love, but you are not going in a deep love. Is what I was about to say for my introduction, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna discuss about it.
So Wilfred, basically what you're saying is that love is shown really in action, not just in word, not just in what we say. I think which is which is great. Go
even
ahead,
if friendship, relationship, family love, everything have to be under action, because love is about action. But the action is come from your heart. It's not come from your head, because your heart guide your head to do something, to do some action. This is what we call love.
Great. I think way to introduce to have like the first line that we're going to talk about. Like, I guess all of you know, the book about like love languages, and I like the fact that Wilfred is introducing the fact that love is action, because I guess like depending on who we're talking about, love can mean different things. And for me personally, I think that love is as simple as respecting and honoring people for who they are, not who we expect them to be, but also taking time to understand what they are sensitive to, and helping them either grow that side, which is like the best side of them, but also just like Jennifer said, accepting them the way they are and learning their love language. Because I know, for example, that for some people around me, love is action. Some other people, love is gift. Some others, love is quality time and conversations. So before we even get into the conversation, as I see that Nadi is trying to come on, what have you guys done the test, the love language test? You guys are all on mute.
I haven't, personally.
You haven't? You absolutely have to do it, Jenna, especially with your husband and your children. I think that would be a great way to learn more about them.
I haven't either.
You haven't either? I absolutely have to. Don't these you have?
Okay.
You
Yeah, I
really
did. I've done it before. Yeah.
Really?
So what are your 3 love languages?
Now I'm trying to remember, so I guess I don't know how impactful it was, but I think my main one is action. I think that was my main one, or what do they call it? Acts of service.
Acts of service.
Acts of service. I also I think another one of mine was quality time. Those are 2 that I remember. I guess the third one, I don't know.
Without doing it, I think it's quality time, mine. Without doing it.
Yeah, quality time was my top one too. So Wilfred, did you take the test already? No? You guys need to absolutely take that test, especially those of you who are in relationships. You absolutely have to take that test. I think it's a great way of learning more about your significant other, but also about yourself.
Okay. Just so you talking about the fact that about love, I once read something and someone was saying being in love is also being with someone and being able to just sit around each other without saying anything, and
Hey
that's very
everybody.
important. Hello, Nally.
Hello, Nelly.
So that person was saying, if you are with someone and the vibes are just okay
Uh-oh.
with you sitting in front of each other
The
without saying
internet doesn't want
anything,
to let me be
that's a
great.
good thing. So I don't know what you think about it, but I thought that it was good because now that I'm in a relationship, I do feel that we can just sit down, just like doing our stuff. It's very quiet around us, just being the two of us, and it's just still okay. Whereas sometimes you are with someone, but you still have to find some sentences, some subject to discuss about, and so you can't just be just the two of us and being
Hey,
okay.
hey. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Nali.
I feel like you are delayed, Nadi. I'm not sure if you're hearing us on time. I think there's a slight delay.
Say that one more time.
Can you hear
There
us
is.
as we speak?
I'm having a delay.
Yes, seems
Yes.
like it. Seems like it. So I'm gonna let like
Sort of.
Jennifer finish her introduction, and then I'm gonna let you, Nali, introduce yourself.
I just want to know what you think about what I was saying about the silent thing and being someone around someone you love and being able to just
I
like
didn't hear that part.
be
Say that again.
quiet. Are you talking about me not hearing me or not hearing Carlita?
The internet doesn't
I
want to
think
let.
Nali has a delay. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the internet, like she said, the internet doesn't want to let her be great. But I think
Okay.
what you said was very interesting, Jane, about in the sense that even for ourselves, we talk about love, like we talk about love. We are all talking about love, like from some like I guess like considering somebody else. But I think love starts first with ourselves. What I found out from my own experience is that it's hard to love somebody else when you don't love yourself, or it's fine to love somebody else the right way when you don't love yourself the right way. So I think love is start with ourselves. And say, just to come back to your observation about like being able to be like quiet space with the person that you love, and still having a great time without even having to have a conversation. When you start loving yourself the right way, I think it is important that we learn to date ourselves. And I say this always, if you cannot date yourself and be comfortable by yourself, with yourself, like, why are you expecting somebody else to be comfortable being around you? And that speaks to what you just said. If you can be with your significant other or somebody that you love, and just by your presence, just by being in the same room, you feel fulfilled. I think that's a significant and a very important sign of what love between you two really is, and or how mature your love is. Because sometimes it takes also like some of the love that you have for people takes time to mature. You don't just come and love somebody the same way at the beginning than you do later. I don't know if you guys think no, I mean what you guys think about that.
I think it's totally true. I absolutely don't believe in love at first sight. I think that actually love is cultivated, and you grow together. Getting to know each other leads to loving someone. Um, so what Khalida said about the she was talking about what was she talking about again?
About
Um,
the fulfillment, about being around someone and being fulfilled, just the two of you, and being happy to being together and feeling fulfilled. That was exactly what she said, and that was exactly what I wanted to say.
what you wanted to say. Okay, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. So and the time, um, like you said, the quality time you spent together, all of that, it brings like the strong feelings of affection and care towards the person. So for me, I love the way I love is I start with a religious belief, which is God. So once you love God, I think you are able to love yourself, and have the tools to actually love someone. Because loving someone, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You gotta work. You gotta love his flaws. You gotta love his everything about that person. So yeah, so I totally agree with her.
Yeah, I would jump on that too and say like part of the reason why I say love is a consciousness is because I think you have to um, I think you have to make an intentional effort to decide this is where I'm going with this. You know, after you take time and you learn about someone and you kind of get to know them, you can have a feeling, and then that feeling is good. But like my wife told me before we got married, she's a realist, man. Like she's a realist almost to the point of like you feel bad about yourself, you know, if you're not you know, if you're not in the same world with her. Cause I'll be, you know, before we got married, I remember like literally right before we maybe like the weekend before we got married, you know, she says, you know, love is not gonna be the same for us. I said, wait, what? What? Well, hold on. What are you talking about? You know, and she was like, it's not going to stay the same. Like this happy, like sort of fantasy type feeling we feeling right now, it's not going to always feel like that. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? I'm going to feel like this for you forever. And she's like, no, you're not. And you know, it took me some time to really think about that. I was like, why are you saying this like 1 week before we about to get married? You trying to mess everything? You trying to sabotage what's going down? You know, but what she was really trying to do was say to me, look, we have to be realistic about how our relationship is going to go. If we're going to grow together, then we got to start from reality. We can't go into our relationship. And I do this with like couples that I do premarital counseling with. Same thing. I say, we go over like a list of all these expectations that you have kind of going into marriage. And one of those things that's like right at the top of the list is your love for each other will always stay the same. There will be nothing that can break it up, and love is enough for your whole relationship. And some people are, you know, they know that that's a kind of like an expectation that's a little bit unrealistic. And some people are like, wait, what? That's not how it's going to be. I'm like, look, bro, 15 years in, it's not how it's going to be, you know? So you just, I agree with that. It's like it's a process. Like I was saying, you gotta think about it. You gotta decide to do it. And then you're going to jump into that commitment, just like you would if you were doing other aspects of your life. You know, it's commitment.
Hi, hello, Adisa.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for being late, running from a meeting.
No, you're good. You're absolutely good. How about you introduce yourself to the audience, people who are discovering you for the first time or not, and let us know where you are joining us from, and give us a quick intro of what love is for you.
Okay. So hi, everyone. My name is Adisa. I am a doctor in neuroengineering, and this is my second time on the podcast. I'm currently in Rockville, Maryland. And yeah, I work for the National Institute of Health as a program manager for the neuroengineering program and stroke rehabilitation as well. So this is what I do. And I guess to answer the question, for me, I think love is action. Love is showing how you feel, is being patient with the other person, is being understanding, it's compromising, and it's also listening in some sort of way. To me, it takes time. It's something that is built upon on a daily. And, I guess kind of jumping into the conversation, it doesn't stay the same every day. Just like one day we like color blue, the next day we like pink. Sometimes you could love your partner, but maybe not like them at that particular instance. So I think also, I wouldn't want people to to use it as the essence of everything, like, oh, I love this person, therefore this is it, and blah blah blah. No, I think you also need to have a realistic approach, just like what your wife, in terms of that there could be hardship, right? There could be, bumps. So it's up to you both to kind of remember, in a sense, the love that you have for one another, but also make sure that you're able to know each other and use each other's strengths and weaknesses to kind of work through the different obstacles to be able to move forward. And hopefully with time, and I think that's what also love it fortifies over time. It becomes stronger after kind of working through these obstacles, after learning better about each other, because just like in the beginning of a relationship, you're so happy, you're like, oh, this is it, this is the person, you compliment me. But then after that, they could do the same thing. But then, 10 days later, you're like, no, that doesn't compliment me that day. So
It doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't feel the same, right?
No.
So it's so love is patient. Love is action as well. Love is just showing, words of affirmation, showing that you do care about the person. Also, in a sense, sometimes holding back as well, and taking into consideration the other person, your partner, your wife, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, to be able to kind of grow together as a couple. And it's also honesty. Love is honesty.
I feel like we will never get to the bottom of what love really is, but like the truth of the matter is, we're gonna try to get some element of responses based on our different perspective, right? So like from what everybody is saying, and I think what I also think is that love is not only intentional, but it's also a decision, right? Because I feel like it's so easy to fall out of love that if you decide to love somebody, you really have to stick with your decision, basically, which is why it's so important from the get-go. When we're talking about children, you don't really choose your children, right? You don't choose your family. But when it comes to like friendship and partnership, I think it's very important to ask the right question from the get-go, but to also observe the person to see if it is a person who mentally or emotionally is intelligent enough to grow with you as you grow. Because most of the people who divorce, like especially in our generation, oh, we grow out of love, or we grow apart. Like, where does that come from? That, where does that feeling of growing apart comes from? Is it because you guys were not intentional enough about growing the seed of love that you guys had from the beginning, and then, growing it into a tree that had fruits and all that, and you let it die? Or is it because you just didn't take time to actually look at the person? You had some red flags that you decided to ignore just because you wanted to check the boxes and to please society. What do you guys think about that?
You said so many things that are so different, and like
grab whatever you can, and then just go with it.
So, because basically from what you said about the commitment, and it's going also back to what Donovan had said, like, while people, when they get married, just they think that's going to be like love, like endless love forever. And I think that thing needs to stop. It's different. And
So wait, Jenna, but what you're trying to say is that the movies are actually lying to us?
They are lying, girl. I'm sorry about that. And there is this
I
song.
was kind of hoping for that romantic out of the movie kind of thing.
Second of all, I'm not romantic at all. So it's like I'm not following into all this shit, so it doesn't work. And you have to stop that. And I say most of the people, and I'm not talking about the girls and the guys. And when you have kids, the whole dynamic in the couple changes. So, and when you start into your relationship, you only focus on both of you. So whatever you do is about the two of you. You see? So you are trying to be the best person for that person that is in front of you. Whereas when you have kids, your focus are different. So you're trying to focus on someone else. And I know that most of my friends, what happens when they get a divorce is that when the focus changes, one of the one part of the couple might feel lonely or left alone, and is trying to look for this, the sparkle that they had in the beginning. And one of my friends once told me, she called me and she was like struggling because she had 2 kids, she was busy, and I told her, it's just 2 or 3 years. If you two really love each other, you stick together, because when those 3 years are gone, it's gonna be okay, because your love is still here and you can focus back to each other. So that's what you have to bear in mind. So, and there is also something else that you said, and that I love, that there is a song about that about Pink that's called True Love, and I love that song because that song says sometimes I really feel like slapping you in the face, and I do feel sometimes like slapping my husband in the face, but I don't, because I love him. And that's a whole difference, because I think if it was someone else, I would just slap him and just leave. Whereas I love him deeply. That's why I'm still here. So I don't know what you guys think, but for me, that's very important. Just like not to focus on like the daily routine that's going to change. Life and routine are here, and they are here for a reason. However, you have to find some way just to keep the sparkle, because at the end of the day, it's just the two of you that's going to make this whole thing function. So that's what I think. So I don't know who want to talk.
I'm going to jump on that because for me, love is a long journey. I would say love is a long journey. You have to grow up. You have to grow up when you love someone, or when you get in love. You have to grow with. I would say, from my opinion, the way you are loving yourself, in the way you're gonna share, is the only best way you can share the love to somebody else, even if your child or your even if you are in relationship or partnership or friendship. The way you can think about the best love is to share the way you are loving yourself, because the way you are loving yourself is the best way you can share the love to anybody else. That's the thing. That's a fact. And also, there is many different levels, because when we have to grow up with love, there is many different levels, because when you get married, or you get a relationship or something like that, you have the period, you have the up and down period, that the love is coming down and sometimes coming down. You have to be. It's not about to, because I want to jump on what Donovan said before about expectation. I would say expectation is the things you have on the beginning, but you don't have to be focused on the expectation list. I would say expectation list, because everyone got expectation list, but you don't have to focus on that, because expectation list is gonna blow away. Sometimes you have to be creative in love. When you love someone, you have to be creative. You have to create something every single day just to make love going. That's my point.
So, I want to add something to that. You talked about something very important, which is expectations. Um, when I say there is one thing, which is loving your principles. So when let's say your principle is freedom, and you love someone who is the opposite of freedom, and you guys love each other, you guys get together, and when like along the relationship, you guys figure that this is actually not working because we don't have the same principles. I'm expecting something from you, you expecting something from me, and now that's when the problem starts. And many people get into relationships thinking that person can change and love the principles that you love. Those are already expectations. So if you go in a relationship like that, it's never gonna last. You guys have to have the same goals, the same, I would say, principles, so that you guys can grow together. That's actually what I believe in.
So, what you're trying to say? Is it that like love should kind of look alike or have the same goals? Because it's two different things, right? Because when you
Right.
have the same goals, you guys can be very different and still have,
Right.
reach the goals because you guys respect and honor each other. But when you guys don't have the same principle, is love still possible if you guys don't share the same values? That's a question for everybody. Do you guys think that love is still possible when you guys don't share the same values?
Honestly, in my opinion, no. It never. It does. It's not gonna work. Someone has to adapt to the other person. Basically, someone has to
So
let go his values to, be
Meet the
with
other
that
one.
person.
so what do you
Right,
say about
exactly.
that?
You can mix
That's
the value. You can mix the value. I would say you can mix the value. It depends on what kind of value. It depends on what kind
Yes,
of
it depends.
principle you have in the
I mean,
beginning.
I'm talking
Because
about your core values, right? Your
yeah,
core
yeah,
values
for
and
core
principle
value.
that we.
Because everyone got expectation on the beginning on when you start loving someone or when you start getting in a relationship or something else. You may share your expectation or principle because, for example, I would say, you guys, I've got 10 principles on my love criteria, and my wife get 10 principles or their love criteria. And when we mix together, we should have one expectation or one principle when we can, which is going on the same way. We should have
Mhm.
only one, or maybe two, on the 10 list to have and just to go on the same way. Even if the rest are different, we may have one or two things we can just grow, or we can just we can just mix together and go on the same way, and then we can just make it happen and just growing up with this.
Just so that
So
I'm talking. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was said something about, and I disagree with you what you said, Wilfred, because for me, some of the value can't mix up. There are some stuff that
Yeah,
can't mix up.
agree,
For
totally
example,
agree.
if
Yeah,
for example I am for example, just talking about myself again, like I'm very independent, and if I had someone that was really needy and needed someone around all the time and that was really jealous, I can't deal with that. And there's no way I can just like deal with someone like that. That's something that's never gonna work. Even if I love that person deeply and it happened to me in the past, I can't deal with someone like that. Will
So do you
never ever
still call it
last.
love though, Jenaba? You call it
Sorry?
love, but just not
It's
compatible.
it was
You call
yeah,
it love,
because
but you guys are not
basically
compatible.
exactly. For me, it's just like something that is different. If you can love someone and not being able to live with that person, for me, that's something that exists. You can't. There are some people that are not meant to be together, even though they love each other very deeply. But you have to know it
Mhm. I agree.
How do you know that?
because I experience it. I know it.
No, I mean, how do you, when you are in
Talking
the
about
midst of it and you call
experience
it
now.
love, and you have that passion? That's another question that I have for you guys. Is love passion? But before you do that, how do
Ah,
you, when you are in the midst of it, and you are passionate about your relationship, and you think this is the one, how do you know this is not love, or how do you know that this cannot work? Where do you put
that's
where
where
do
I
you draw
was.
the line?
Where, for example, for me, that's what I was saying. That's someone that respects you and respect the person you are, and you. I didn't want to be someone else. It's like being with that person was like turning into someone very different. And if you allow, if you want, maybe some girls are happy to be like that, but for me, it's
But for
something that
how
never
long though?
lasts. Yeah, that never lasts. So if you really want to be, and if you are with someone and you just like discuss and realize that you want to like, you're dreaming about like having kids and a family and building a home, and that person tells you, no, I want to travel and go blah, blah, blah. No, that never, there's no chance you're going to make that person change her mind. And you should
Right.
never try to do it, because even though that person starts doing it in the future, she's going to blame it on you because I'm frustrated, I want to do it in my life, and because you want to do that, then I turn it into someone else, and that's where we're ending. So no.
And I want to add something. Oops,
Go ahead,
sorry,
go ahead.
Wilson.
No, go ahead,
Um,
I'm gonna just ask a question
there is
after that.
right. There is a difference between behavior and personality. You can love
That is deep.
someone.
Hold on a minute. That
There
is
is
great.
someone you can
Wow.
love for that person, for that personality. Personality cannot change. So if you don't love the personality, you guys are not going to be together. However, behavior can change. You can help someone change his behavior, like, something you don't like, dressing, you don't dress good. Okay, we can change that. Certain things can change. But for me, it's like the personality. If you don't love, it's not gonna go anywhere. And love for me is not a choice. It just happens because you can fall in love with someone you're not supposed to be
I
fall
don't
in
I
love.
don't
You don't
agree.
know.
I don't agree with that.
You don't
I
agree with
think
that?
you can have feelings, very strong feelings for
Right,
somebody
feelings.
you think are
Yeah, you
incompatible.
can love someone and
Right,
not
that's
be
what
with
I
that
meant.
person.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
And
Feelings.
then
but
you
Oh
like
yeah, I
choose
would say feelings.
to be with that
No, it can be
person. Then
love. For me, it can be
no, it
Feelings,
can
love.
but
be.
no love. No love.
That's
No
love.
love, because love
I
is
mean,
something else. It's more important. But I
what
got a question
degree
for
of
you
love?
guys. Yeah,
What
I got a
degree of
question.
love?
Yeah, I got a question for you guys. If you can let me, I got a question for you. If you meet someone, are you gonna start to love someone when you don't have the same when you don't have the same value, or you don't have the same principle? Are you gonna start loving someone? Are you gonna start doing love, or loving someone you don't have the same value? Because
But sometimes you
we
don't know.
no, yeah, sometimes you don't know, but you may have one thing, only one thing can meet you together. Only one thing. It's only one thing. You can have one thing when you are on the same page. Because if you don't have the same page, are you gonna start loving someone like that?
I mean, sometimes you don't, like I was saying, you don't choose the feeling that you have for people, right? But if we're talking
hmm
about like building like a relationship, like in a partner way, is a different perspective. You can have the feelings and still be very sober about how you engage in the relationship, right? Versus when it's your family or when it's your children, or like that, when it's your family, you just cannot choose. Sometimes even with your friends, you want to slap them in the face, but because you have chose and decided that these were your friends and that you were going to do life with them, you grow differently because they become what I call family, right? They go from friend to being a family without really being family, so it's family. That's my word for it. But like the thing is, like, versus somebody that you're trying to do life with or you want to choose as a partner, I think the perspective is different depending on how old you are, how much mature you are, and and what you're looking for, whether you know who you are or not, and how heal and restore you are from the own traumas of your life. So I think it's very, very, love looks very different, or the feelings look very different, depending on where you are in your life. But talking about like where we are now, like where this last conversation was about 40, being 40 or around, or from 30 to 40, I think you start to have like a maturity. You have been burned enough, you have been through life enough, and your perspective on what relationship is, or what your calling or what your life purpose is, once you have that, is different when you engage into relationship. Like personally, I don't know if I'll choose somebody that I love, and maybe we are not compatible, or if I'll choose somebody that I respect, but with whom I'm compatible. Adisa, I see you moving your head, and Dondis, you two are very quiet today. So for me, those are the two main questions right now in my life. Like, do I choose somebody that I have strong feelings for, that can actually get me drunk in love? Or do I stay sober and look at all the details, look at where I'm going in life, where I'm heading to, my goals, look at the person goals, and see if eventually we are looking into the same direction, or if we have a common goal? Because you two can be very ambitious, which is a character trait, but not having the same ambition, or not having the same goal, the same end goal, and that won't work either, because you guys don't have the same, you guys are not going the same direction. So you guys can have all those principles and have the same principle, but you have to define exactly, like, okay, you have the principle of patience, but like, what is your degree of patience right now? Or you have the principle of being ambitious, but like, how ambitious are you? At what cost? Does your integrity goes to the trash when it comes to you being ambitious and getting what you want? So I think those different things come to play when it comes to like choosing a partner, and that is different from, love. I feel like you don't fall in love, you grow into love. So, and that comes from a place of like, what?
That is right. I totally
No, I'm
agree.
sorry. You fall in love.
Not at
If
40.
you,
No,
if
I would
you,
say not at 40.
You
Not at
if
40.
still
you, if
fall in
you,
love.
if you
At
just
40,
lining up, if you're just lining up, okay, these box check, this box checks, this box check. Once all the boxes check, then you're bored. You have no
Yeah.
excitement. You have nothing to actually compel you to want to be with that person. You could be in the same house and, all right, you going to your office, I'm going to my office. All right, cool. Pound them up and y'all are gone. But what's going to happen when it's time to actually connect to each other? Are you actually connected in terms of anything beyond your goals and your charts and whatnot, or are you just only going to be connected on your goals? Because if that's it,
no,
just like
no. I
anything
mean,
else, that's gonna break
And
you apart as
you
well.
still
Like
you
you're
still
gonna
have
you're
to have
gonna
the feeling to start with.
how can you
But what I'm
how you gonna
saying,
how you gonna
Yeah,
do
but yeah,
when
but
the days
yeah,
when you
but
want to
speaking of
slap that
which,
face?
yeah, but speaking of which, about feelings,
Mhm.
when you are starting to get feelings, because you get feeling for something, right? You get feeling for someone, you get feeling for someone, but before you get feeling, you have to know what you want about that. When you're gonna start get feelings, because we are talking about feelings first before we talking love, because love is something we have to go with. But feelings, you have to get feeling on the beginning of the relationship. I'm talking about relationship.
I
Yes.
yeah,
think you can get your feelings from different stuff because basically it's about the way the person look, the way the person talks. So there are different things that must make start the feeling, and then the more you get to know that person about how she behaves and all those stuff, then you get your love can grow. I agree on that.
yeah.
But
Yeah, that's true.
it's just the way it
Uh,
is. I don't know.
and Wilfred, you you asked a question, saying if you can love someone if you guys don't have the same value. I think you totally can. Like Jenaba said, it's feelings that you have in the beginning. Okay, you start dating the person is nice, and you start having feelings, you start loving that person. And then what's dangerous is when you know you get to know that person and you see that you guys don't have the same values, the same principles,
And you
it's
stick to
it's
it.
signs that you
Yeah.
expect that person to meet you somewhere. That's when it becomes dangerous. That when it becomes like very toxic. Because after you are deeply in love and it's hard for you to start uh backing up
Process it.
basically.
Yeah, this
Process
is
it
what I
in
was
your
about.
head.
Yeah. This is what I was saying on the beginning. We don't have to be focused on expectation, because expectation is something we define for fact. But we don't have to be strongly focused on expectation, because sometimes it can be wrong. Because you have your expectation, but you have to define. You have to build your love. You have to build your love. It should be a journey. You have to build your love, and still you are growing up. You have to build your love, because if you are stay focused on your expectation, you can be on the wrong way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you said something earlier about like the fact that you people can be different and get together and fall in love. And what Carlita was saying about matching, just trying to be with someone and just like falling in love, not really falling in love with someone, but trying to be with someone that's meeting most of the criteria is that, I'm sorry, but sometimes the thing that makes you stick is not only, it's just about the love because some days you're just tired, you don't feel like, and in Wolof we said like even a, even tongue and teeth that are sharing the same area, sometimes they get to each other. So even though if you love your husband so much, there are some days that you won't be you don't want to be with that person. So it has to be something beyond that keeps you staying. That, yeah, for me, that's what love is about.
It's like
Right.
there's some app there's levels, or I guess when you talk about love, it's it's not one thing. So there's different angles, different aspects of it. So part of it may be that it starts out with the feeling. All right, yeah, we feeling good. We feel like I want to continue to hang out with this person. And I get to the point where it's so strong that I decide that I want to commit to this person, you know, lifetime partner or a marriage, however we do. But then afterwards, just like I was saying before, my wife is saying, yo, don't expect it to be like this all the time, because there's going to be those days where, you know, I remember a situation where after my wife and I were married, we had a really, like, the argument was so, it annoyed me so much. It was just like, you know, and we were in public and we had to be, and she, you know, it was something like where, you know, like if you do something wrong and you know you did something wrong and your other person knows that you are the one that did it wrong, and you both know that you're in the wrong, but you gotta like ride home together, and it's like a long ride or something, and you gotta like be there. And so I'm telling you, we had that situation, and I subconsciously, I was so mad that I grabbed my wife's hand and just like, you know, I love you, man. I love you, you know? And it was funny because I just thought I was thinking it in my mind. But when we got home, she actually said to me, thank you for doing that, because I know that you were really mad and I was really messed up what I did. So I appreciate that. That is not a moment where I'm feeling this, you know, awesome feeling of her. That's not even anything about expectation. That is purely about the moment of commitment. And I'm going to stay in this because this is what we're about, you know? And it's not disingenuous. It's just as genuine as everything else. It's part of your love. So to try to say that, you know, it has to be one way or the other, we're gonna have to get into the nuances of those things, because it is different, definitely different aspects or angles that help to kind of build and shape, you know, what love is. And some of them is those times when you're like, whoo, you know, but you made your commitment, and it's worth it. It's worth it in the end, you know, when you get to those things. That's the positive side of it, you know.
Right. And I have a quick question, and I think, you know, looking at, for example, the pandemic and everything that happened, right? I think we've heard, for example, that a lot of couples after 10, 15 years have gotten divorces. Right. And in my mind, sometimes it's so baffling, because I'm like, how come, because of you two staying together, which I believe it was something that you did prior to or even at the beginning of the marriage. And now that, you know, you've kind of are forced to kind of be in the same space again, causes this drift, divorces, that literally started as soon as this pandemic happened. What do you think, or what do you guys think the cause of that could have been?
Getting to know each other, I guess.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say.
Get to know each other again, yeah.
Getting to know the true self, like how you guys have grown apart. Like they like to say, like,
But isn't that salvageable though? But the fact that they've made the decision, right, to separate divorce. I'm thinking after 15 years, yes, even though you guys are starting to learn each other again, isn't that salvageable to the point that you can stay together? Like, and maybe it's just a generation thing. I mean, now with millennials and everything, I mean, now it's just quick. You can divorce. If you don't like it, you choose something else. That's what it is, right? But I guess I just don't understand, or maybe it is something deeper than just that. But does getting to know each other again, is it that hurtful? Why does it lead to divorce when you've been together for 15 years?
But actually, maybe they are living in the same house, but they don't live together. You know, they're all doing stuff separately. So, and I think I don't know whether Winfred was talking about it earlier, it's very important also to keep some time together. Some time alone is important, but some time together as a couple is very essential. And if you don't just try to build it, then I think that it's very difficult just to be together. To be fair, when you during this lockdown, it was so difficult to be with I do understand, for example, if you are a family, you have kids, you live in a house, as a mother, most of the women, they do all the work. So they had to work from home. They had to cook, to do all the tidying, and then they have the kids, and the husband is here doing, I would say mainly, most of them, nothing. So say, and so they get frustrated. And because she's frustrated, then she drops all her frustration on him, and then it goes on and on and on and on. So, and that's also, if you are not, as a couple, don't share all this burden together, because it's a burden. So you're all together in that shit. So you have to work on that. Sorry, I know I'm in the American version. I shouldn't be saying those stuff, but in French, I'm sorry to say that. So, and people are stuck
I think for me, oh, sorry.
So I would say,
Go
yeah.
ahead,
So
Jennifer.
if you go, if people are just like, you get into that whole imbroglio without even noticing, and then at the end of the lockdown, people are tired, and just they grow apart. They just grow apart. 15 years is long. So if you just like don't share something that is deeper, then it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand, and I think maybe a word that I definitely want to add to my definition of love is it's nurturing. It's something that needs to be nurtured over time, and I believe constantly, without it maybe kind of hitting you in the head after 15 years and trying to rediscover the person over and over, and just like you said, maybe continuing in a sense merging each other's lives together, and building it as time goes on.
Crisis for that?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Do you think you have to wait till there is a crisis
Uh-oh, you're breaking
to
up.
actually
Yeah.
learn to
We
grow or
can't
to
hear
like
you, Carlita.
water the seed of love from the beginning? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, a
Yes,
little
Can you
bit
hear
better.
me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's quite better. Yeah.
Our issues today. Is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying, like, do you need a crisis for me? Like, just to come back to your question, Adisa, I think one of the reasons why I think people just decide to divorce can be one of the main reasons. I think can be the fact that maybe you have to face the person and stay in the same space, versus before everybody was just pretending to be in a relationship. Everybody was going out, going to work, going and having like a parallel life or whatever, and coming in and then just dealing with each other versus being with each other. So I think is when you get to that point where COVID hit and then you have to stay stuck with somebody that you can barely stand, and that the only way of standing the person was to be out of the house, I'll say 20 hours out of 24 or whatever the case might be. And plus the fact that in our generation it's very easy to just be like, I don't like it, I'm just quitting. So I think it can take 20 years, but if it's 20 years of everybody living like a separate life, it's different from 20 years of everybody kind of like living a life together. You see what I mean?
No, definitely.
So that is kind of my perspective on that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
You
nowadays,
guys are very quiet today. So let me ask.
people realize that
You guys are very
after
shy on this
15 years,
conversation.
after 15 years of being together, I'm not happy. That leads to divorce. If you don't find happiness in your relationship after so long, you just be okay. You know what? It's not worth it to stay with this person. Let me go find love somewhere else. That's just the society nowadays.
But
And
is
you
it
Not like
right? Is
before.
it okay? When I say is it right, meaning, for example, right, on the basis of the Bible, right, it says love is patient, kind, etc. Right? To
Right.
death do us part. Now, after 15 years, even though you're not happy and you've made the commitment to make each other happy as well as making yourself happy through that, is it right to divorce?
Nope, not at all. The thing is,
No,
sometimes
this was
you
till COVID was part.
Through COVID.
yeah to the
till COVID
That's the
was
worst.
sometimes you see couples that love each other, but there is maybe a 75, 25%. Like 75 of this person is working hard on this relationship while the other one is not. So it becomes a burden on one person. And at some point, we're human, we have a breaking point.
Mhm.
After you see that this person is not actually working with me, because it should, I'm not even saying that a couple have to have like 50-50. It's 100%, which is 200. You both have to bring in 100% to make this relationship work. As soon as someone is just doing less work than the other one, they cannot carry each other and, grow old, like you say.
Just like top up what you just said, Awa. For example, I had like some experience where some friends were telling me that, like, because I'm almost the 40, I have the older generation though. So my friends around now are going, so you have those that are going outside. So they like, so they're not really faithful, some of them. And so, and we had a discussion around, and one of my friends, for example, I know that she was in a relationship, and she met someone at work, and so they start a new relationship. And I was like, okay, so why did that happen? So basically, you are into your relationship, into your daily routine with your husband, and she was like, yeah, my husband and I, it's just okay. Yeah, it's okay because it's a daily routine, and she was trying to nourish and feed that relationship. So what she did is, like, she found someone else that was around and that was nice to her, and she said, like, okay, it's gonna be better in that relationship. Then she moved into another relationship without trying hard on the other one. So, and that's where also we have an issue in our generation, because most of the people, they don't try hard in the current relationship they are in. They're just like, okay, it doesn't work, so I'm going to move to the next one. And that's also why it's not only her fault, I would say. It's a partnership, has our said, because if you, on a daily basis, you are around other people. So if you leave your house and your husband hasn't been nice, or your wife hasn't been nice to you, and you go out frustrated, and outside you find someone that says, oh, you nice, you handsome, you're just human. You have all the frustration all day long, and you meet someone that's like, you're amazing, you're nice, you're good, blah, blah, blah. What do? You end up with that person. That's why on a daily basis, you have to try hard every single day, because you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. You
I
get
have
that
a question.
tonight.
No, go ahead.
Is emotional cheating? Is emotional relationship cheating?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. That's how it starts.
It is.
It is.
It
That's how
is.
it starts.
It starts from the
It
thoughts.
is.
It starts
and
from
gets
there.
into the actions.
It sure is.
It is.
Like,
And also, I do have a question. So for someone that, for example, if men, women, they go out and they end up, being unfaithful to their partner, is it still love? Like, for example, they mess up, they make a mistake,
It
blah,
can
blah.
be love.
So after that, is it still love?
Jenna, but I
that
want to
was
know
actually
Is
that
it
was
really
actually
still
my
love?
Yeah,
question.
I used to
Because-
be on the other side of that. I used to be like, no, it ain't.
Yeah.
No,
I used to be the
absolutely
same as
not.
well.
Get out of my
I guess
face. You're done.
Right.
But
I guess
you can make
men and
mistakes.
women think differently when it comes to love, because I know that a woman, when she cheats, it's an emotional cheating. When a man cheats, it might be some lust. It's just something,
Oh, man.
I think different.
and it's different. But I'm saying that that was actually my question, because when you say that love is commitment,
Right.
love is care, love is respect, and love is also when you put someone else's being or happiness, above your own.
You should
Why do
not.
you go ahead and cheat?
Actually,
Because
you should not do
that
that.
person gonna hurt you.
You should not do that. You should not put
I would say one thing.
happiness above yours. That's not a point about love for me. It's not about that.
Right.
For me, it's not what you should be doing. I love that person, but I love myself more.
But more
I
than
agree with Jane
That's
about
how I
that. You have
feel.
to love yourself enough. to have
I love
before you
More
love
myself.
than
somebody
that,
else.
I feel like, for example, right? Regardless of that, I think sometimes you also need to hold yourself to a standard, right? Because yes, you can love the other person, but you need to hold yourself to a standard. I believe so, right? I'm not gonna cheat because I don't want to be that person. You know, regardless of that, yes, we can have argument. I could be like, you know what, whatever, blah blah blah, curse it out. But I don't want to be that person. I don't want to step into that role, right? So it's like at a certain extent, because you can get pissed at your husband, walk out the door, and another person or another man or woman could be like, oh my God, you look so good today. And yes, these things can go up to your head, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like you also need to hold yourself to certain standards and not force yourself, but just tell yourself you don't want to step into that, right? Because it is going to hurt the other person. It is going to hurt the relationship. You know, I mean, yes, you can rebuild, right? But there's still going to be these looming, in a sense, thoughts, feelings.
There is trauma. Yeah, there is trauma
whatever
about
the case may
cheating.
be, right? It's like, so yes, you can love the other person, you can respect the other person, but you should also respect yourself to not step into certain situation, right? I mean, yes, we're humans, you know, we do make mistakes, but to the best of their ability as well. I think I would appreciate if a man comes and tells me, oh, you know what, man, I've been tempted today, and I'll be like, you know, okay, then I need to step my game up, right? I need to like be there for him. I need to do this.
Well, I don't agree because for me,
Right?
I'm
Then
married.
you go out and do it, and then I find out, then that's another issue.
But personally, you know, maybe because I'm married and now like I feel different. But for me, there's nothing you can do to prevent someone from, apart from just trying to be your like your own self. So I'm who I am, and you love me or you don't love me. But on a daily basis, I'll try to be the best of me. But you just like, you should not try to avoid that person from cheating, because you can't do that. There's no way you can do that. If that person want to cheat, you just have to be like nice and like how say and be the normal person you are on a daily basis because you love that person. But like say, oh, she was tempted today, I need to step up my game. That doesn't work. I'm telling you, because you can't step up every day. No.
So Jenna, then question. Is it okay to cheat if you feel like you are not satisfied in whatever you're in, though the person is trying or you're trying hard? Like where do you? I mean, question to everybody. So where do you rebuild the love? Because if we say love is commitment, love is a decision, all that. Like I think love is also trust. For me, is the number one thing.
And forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness, but you forgive maybe
but not
one
forget.
time. And just one time. Let's say forgiveness one time. What if the person keeps cheating on you? Is that still love? Is that still love when the person keeps cheating on you?
Be. I think it can be.
It can be. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I think it can be.
No, hold on.
You say heal. You say heal or be.
It can be.
It can be love. So hold on. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
If a woman, because that could happen to you. Right? Let me not be
I'm
biased.
thinking about both. I'm not talking about guys or women. I'm just talking about
So
both.
if a man or a woman, for example, goes out, cheats on you once, twice, sometimes has a baby here, or she, blah blah blah, is it? Do you think that it is love? Do you think that it is respect? Do you think that? Yeah. What do you think?
For me, it can be.
Honestly, for me, that's the kind of love that I'm staying away from.
Where does it stem from? Because at that point, I feel like if that is love, you have a different notion of what love is, right? I mean, I'm not. I'm trying to understand. Where would that love be stemming from? Because that love is hurting the other person, right? And you wouldn't want to hurt that person when you love them, or at least you want to protect them to a certain extent. I understand. Again, we're all human. We make mistakes. Some things happen. Okay, we can't be perfect, but at the same time, you try your best to protect the person, to protect, the family that you're trying to build, maybe 2, 3, with kids, whatever. And at a certain extent, I mean, I wouldn't say you can maybe you can say you love the person, but your actions don't speak it. If you continuously do so,
Yeah, is there a same thing as continuous versus one time?
How many times? 2 times?
One
3
time.
times?
No, one time. Literally one time.
One
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
one
You have
time,
One
to
time.
do
one
it.
time.
You got one
Yeah.
time.
It's a when
One
it's
time is
one
a
time,
mistake.
then it's a
Yeah,
mistake.
one time can be the mistake. One time can be the mistake. But
Right.
many times,
Yeah.
if you're still doing that,
Mhm.
it's not love anymore.
Yeah,
It's a
now
choice.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like,
Now
agree.
it's a choice.
yeah, after some times, I
That's
feel
so
like
yeah.
you're either losing respect for the person because you don't care anymore to protect them, to maybe not do certain things, or not compromise, not withhold yourself, right? So that, yeah, so I wouldn't call it love per se if it's on a continuous basis. Even though for one,
yes,
it's tough enough.
No, it's tough.
Right.
It's tough. It's,
it is.
it's really tough. I
tough
would say,
enough,
yeah,
It is.
yeah. I would jump on that. I would say one more thing. I would say, love. Love is about art.
Mm,
Art is strong, but we know we are human. We are person, and the flesh is weak.
mm,
The flesh is weak, and every time you have to do something, you have to do the mistake. You have to question yourself. If someone do this to me, I'm gonna be happy or I'm gonna be mad for that. This is why I said in the beginning, you have to know yourself, you have to love yourself. The way you are loving yourself, you are to share the same way you're going to love someone else. So I was about to say, because the flesh
Yeah,
is weak. We know
I
the flesh is
agree.
weak. And we are human. We can make a mistake sometimes, but if you keep doing the mistake, is something else. You have to question yourself.
Listen,
Yeah,
one
what's the
time is a
problem?
mistake. More than one time is a choice.
mm.
Okay, because for
Mhm.
me, and I've lived it. Like you cannot pretend to love me and hurt me at the same time.
Okay.
Either something is wrong. So I want Jainaba to come in and explain to me, like, how is it still love? Hi, Nadi, we see you in the chat. How is it still love if the person keep hurting you?
Mm-hmm.
If it is love, then I'm staying away from that kind of love, whatever that kind of love is.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think someone who loves you will keep hurting you. Like Wilfred said, it's a mistake. It can be a mistake. When you but I'm saying that mistake even can be avoided if you don't
Mistake
put
one time.
yourself
I would
in
say
certain
one time. Yeah, I would say
situations.
one time is a mistake. One time is a mistake, but many times
Oh
is
yeah, one
is
time is a right.
like, yeah.
So
But
don't
for,
put
Okay, Jainaba is
yourself in
here.
a
I'm
situation
sorry. I need to.
where you are tempted, because okay, it comes like it starts somewhere. Okay, let's say you in the office, you have a colleague, I'm talking about men right now. You have a colleague, okay, she's
Always men.
pretty
Let's
and
go.
everything. You guys, I'm talking about men. You can
Jainaba, let's
Go
finish.
ahead. Go ahead.
ask
We
me
hear,
questions so that we
we
can
hear you. We
understand.
hear you.
So
We hear you.
okay,
Go ahead.
you
We hear you.
Now there's women
so
cheat too.
she's pretty and everything, okay. You say that you love your partner so much. You love your wife, you love your partner, and you let yourself get into a game with that person. Okay, you exchange numbers. Already one mistake. Now you start talking. Another mistake. And you are in a situation in a room when you have all the time to think about your actions. and
Okay, you just
and
talking.
now you
No,
want to tell
no, you're saying, okay, let me jump on that. You are saying you start talking. We are just talking. You say talking. You don't do anything else, you're just talking.
You
It's
know what
something
kind
else.
of talking
talking
you mean
leads
Yeah,
now?
talking leads to
no, I know
attachment.
what you are going through. I know what you are going through. I would say this is a
Okay.
beginning. I was about to say, you have to question yourself. What I'm doing wrong, what I'm
Right.
doing right. You have to question yourself, because even if men or women, we are doing the same mistake because we are human, right?
We are.
When you do something,
right.
when you are plan, or because it's not, I would say it's not a plan, but when you are thinking to doing something wrong, you have to question yourself first. You have to
Right.
question
Motive
yourself.
matters.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
the
Where is my
motive
way?
matters. Why did you get that number? Is it
Temptation.
just because he's a colleague, or you got the number just like as a backup? Like, hey, I like this person. Maybe let me see. And then you start playing games, and then you get burnt.
Right.
So
And now
there is
that is a
talking
choice.
and talking.
Your
Like
face
Nani
did a
said,
mud.
I don't know why you have the number in the first place. I don't know why you have. Just keep your number. Keep your number. They keep their number.
That
You
is
can
like,
use Instagram chat. You can use
Right.
Facebook chat. That's it. That's all you need.
Email.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. Speaking of which, let me talk about social media is something is very dangerous because even if now we are talking about number, but social media, everyone looking to get like, or when you put a picture on that, you're looking for like, you're looking for. You see what I'm saying? It's just like you are start going.
You're
You are
looking for
you are looking
validation.
for you are looking something from your ego, right? But this is
Validation.
something you can just destroy your relation. You can destroy your things you are building on, right? You have to be careful on that because social media. Sometimes you say, I don't want to give you my number, but I will give you my social media, my Instagram or my IG or my Facebook or whatever. But it's something. For me, it's the same thing. When you start get feeling with someone, when you start talk with someone, you start talk longer with someone, you are starting a mistake. You have to question yourself what I'm doing. Am I
Yeah,
doing
but wait
something
on,
right?
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Question yourself,
that's the
is
motive. Like
someone
you
do
say,
it?
it comes
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
heart.
yeah. You have to question
But
yourself. If someone do it to me, what I'm gonna be? That's the point.
wait, before you go too long, Jennifer, stop hiding. I want
He
you to
doesn't want
explain
your
to me.
question,
I've
man.
been waiting, okay? I want you to explain to me how is it pure love when the person keeps cheating on you? What kind of love is
for
that?
me for me it can exist because basically if the person from the very beginning is very into, for example, there are some people that are addicted to sex, for example. If the person from the very beginning states that she is addicted to sex and you love that person no matter what, for me it can be fine. If you're happy with it and you can
No,
deal with
no,
it,
no,
for me it's just
Well,
like about the way the person
no,
thinks.
no.
And if she is
But
true to
no.
herself, I'm fit. For me, I won't be doing it because
so
I'm not into something. Because,
I,
but
I
if
want
the
I want to hear
the
what Dundee has to say on this after Geneva
Set
speaks.
up.
Go
Don't
ahead.
mix it up.
finish, finish.
Don't mix it
because
up because it's not mix it up because when you say sex is not love, right?
no, that's what I'm telling you. That's
Sex
what I'm
can be
telling
a
you.
game. Sex can be a game. It can be you can play around, but
That's what
it's
I'm
not
telling
love.
you. That is not
No, because no,
love.
because no, because sometimes people made a mistake. They think when they're doing sex or they're doing something with
That's
someone,
different.
yeah, it's totally
For me, it's
different.
different. I'm sorry.
It's totally different.
I have a very manly mindset. I'm sorry, but for me, it's different. So you can have a guy that is really into you, and spiritually, you have the same thing that you're thinking. However, that's someone that's need to go with a load of women or a load of guys. It's different, even though you are connected spiritually. For me, it's two different things.
I agree with that.
Can you see my face right
Interesting.
now? Because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay, so
You just
what
have
I
to
would say about
agree on that one.
I am
Janabi,
too.
what you're saying, I would say the difference in that kind of situation, okay, maybe you're okay with somebody's behavior or practices, but is it upfront? Have you agreed on it from the beginning? Have
Yeah,
you
that's what I'm
started to
meaning.
talk
That's
about
what
it,
I'm
or is it
meaning. That's what.
something that
Right.
happens later and then
Exactly.
it's a secret and it's been hidden and it's
No,
not
not that.
respect? Like
No, that.
I feel like what Adisa was talking about is this whole concept of respect. You talk about respect. What are you going to do as respecting yourself and as respecting your partner and coming into the commitment? So I think I think you don't disagree actually with us. I think you're just making a different distinction in behavior practices that are acceptable for different people. Yeah, I think that's different than the
Yeah.
idea of what they're saying, which is can somebody cheat on you, which is
It's not cheating, really. But if you say.
yeah. So that's why I say what you're talking about. I think that's different idea than the concept of cheating, because the whole thing with cheating is that you are doing something you're not
In the
supposed
back.
to do. It's
Not
something
supposed
that
to
is
do.
not
Yeah.
acceptable, you know. And I think that's gonna be very different. And that's I wanna go to what Awa was saying about even the first mistake can be avoided. I think that idea is really where couples should try to put in their work. If you are feeling like you're out of love with somebody and you need to go outside of your relationship to get the emotional attachment and that kind of thing, tell the person, have the
There needs to be
conversation,
a conversation.
have the talk, because you can avoid even the first cheating mistake because you can start to work on it And the honesty, if you're starting to get honest, you might find that the other person's in the same place where you are, and it's a mutual thing. And you're like, okay, well, I guess we're at the part where we're going to be separated. Or you might find the person say, no, I think let's try to work on this. Is there a way to work on it? So that conversation needs to happen before anybody decides they're going to break from the commitment. That's what I would urge people to try to do.
Because
Oh
what I've
my
heard
God,
sometimes,
thank
I agree
you.
with that. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with
totally
that.
agree,
Because
and I
it's
think that's a
something.
great point. Just before we continue, one of the things that I've heard, like attached to what Dondi just said, is people who are out of the relationship in their mind, but still in the relationship and start doing something else, and they call it not cheating because officially they have already disconnected from the relationship without having the conversation with the partner.
They are
But
cheating.
but the question is, where you are disconnected, why are you still there? Just leave it.
Because there is no communication and they just don't want to have the conversation.
So they cheated.
So do we all
Because
agree that love is also communication?
It's also maturity.
it's also maturity. It's also maturity. Yeah. It's also to be. Yeah. It's also to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest. You have to question yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Because because there will many aunts or men or beautiful women out there, right? We always been tempted. We always been tempted. We only be temptation outside. But the thing is, you have to be honest with yourself, because even if you have to be happy with your ego, but you have to question yourself: am I doing something wrong, or I'm about to doing something wrong, or where we are going to? Because when you talk to someone or you start talking with someone, even if man or woman, you have to question yourself where we are going to. Where we are you going? Are we going to the friendship, or are we going with something else? Because it's just make your ego happy, but sometimes you have to think about what I'm doing, because question yourself. Let's be honest. We have to be honest. We are human. We know the flesh is weak, but we know our heart is somewhere else. You are thinking someone else, and you are talking with someone else. Is something wrong? Right? Because sometimes someone, because we know, because every time we are talking about men are cheating, but what about women? Because sometimes we are saying women are very emotional, right? When you go outside or when you go social media, someone like your pictures. Oh, you are beautiful. You have the beautiful hair. You have beautiful makeup. Somewhere you start laughing like crazy, right? Something happened. No, it's something happened.
Love compliments.
Yeah, exactly. Women love compliments.
Are you
women love
men
compliments.
are not emotional? Because
imagine.
I like compliments too. You can compliment me.
We all love compliments. We all love compliments, but sometimes you have to question yourself. If you are in a relationship, right? You wake up a day and you are on a bad mood, and we are on a bad mood with your partner or your husband or something, and then you go on the social media, or you go at work and you talk with your colleague or you talk with your friend or social media and say, oh, I like you, I like your hair today, I like your face, you're feeling happy or something, I like you, or you are beautiful today or something. You can start talking because your ego has to be happy.
Yeah,
you are human.
And the thing
and
is,
then emotional is going. And emotional is coming. This is what we are talking about. It's not love, but is start getting feelings, and feelings is something dangerous.
If you do it every time and it's the same person every time that come and make compliment, and then you know you're married and you start getting attached and you don't have a conversation to clear that up, then it is a choice. It comes back to the choice. But for me, there is a difference
back to the choice. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Back to the choice. But what about if the man talk with the woman and you trying to be mad because your man is talking with another woman outside?
You know what?
Same way.
I will answer that. I will answer that. You got married. You got married to someone you say that you love. Why did you get married to that person? So you know what I don't like is those people that put so much work into complimenting other women or being in a relationship with other women instead of putting that work into their relationship that they chose
From the very first place.
from the
That's
very first
that's
place.
one. Yeah, and
Sorry.
that's one of the things too. But I think it's also like there is also a difference between the moment where you feel like you drifting away and you don't have this conversation, and that is like you start with
Oh,
one
that's
thing and
it.
you guys avoid the conversation and you guys keep going and it just keep like rolling until the ball is too big now, and then by the time you guys have the conversation there is so much to discuss that you just choose not to have the conversation. But I think there is a difference between, just to come back to what Wilfred was saying, right? You can be complimented, but if you know who you are and you are secure in your identity, in your relationship, and in who you are, because you have made the choice to be the one who cheat or not to be that kind of person or to hold yourself to standards, like you can have a conversation, smile and all that, and then go back home and have no feeling. Now, if it is a place where you yourself, you don't know who you are and you're still trying to figure it out and you need validation from other people, and
That's what.
then
That's
you
true.
are sensitive to those kind of things and you can just drift away and go in any kind of direction, no matter who that. Even if the birds say you're beautiful, you might just fly with the bird. So
Mm,
it's not about like the other person, it's about you. And for me, that's why it is important to have self love. Because when you have self love, it doesn't matter what other people are doing, you stay true to who you are and you stick to your standards.
So,
If one
and
of
I
your
do
standards
agree.
is I don't do to others what I
They
don't
do.
want them to do to me,
Mhm.
then you don't cheat because you just don't want to be cheated on. And that's it. It's as simple as
What
that.
I what I agree on with Carlita is what she says, that you have to be happy with yourself. Because when you say that people are fishing for compliments, that's because you don't feel fulfilled.
Mhm.
So if you don't, personally, I know that if you're looking going outside and fishing for compliments, you have to be happy about yourself already. You don't need people to tell you that you're beautiful or you are great. If you're expecting your partner to be the one that will bring you that, there's something missing. And basically, most of the people I've heard that were like unfaithful, they did it because of that. Because they were like they were expecting their partner to be there, just like to fill the gap. And then once their partner was not available to do that, then they were looking for someone else to do it. So, and that's what about self-love first. You love yourself. You don't need anybody to tell you that you're beautiful or you're amazing. You have to do it by yourself. Then you find someone to be around you because that person is meeting your expectation, but not because she's there to tell you that you're great. You don't need that. That's how I feel. It's not
Yeah.
love. For me, that's not love.
No, I
Hmm.
mean, and I totally
Absolutely.
understand, and I totally agree with. But one point that I didn't too much agree with is I think when Wilfred was saying that maybe women are maybe emotional cheaters, or get attached emotionally, because I do feel like men as well get attached emotionally, but it just manifests, I believe, in different aspects. For example, a man could be like, oh, like you should change your hair, or oh, you should dress this way. That is probably because he probably seen X, Y, and Z, or maybe he was with X, Y, and Z and he likes what he saw, so it manifests in other way. Versus maybe women, we get very invested and we invest another time with the X, Y, and Z. So I think I believe in soul ties. So I'm not sure about you guys, but I do think men do invest or do get emotionally attached, when they cheat as well. It could be maybe easy, for them to do so, or it could not, kind of be openly seen, but I feel like it does manifest in different aspects, maybe later on in the relationship or in the marriage that they're in. So that was the one point that I wanted to kind of to state.
And that's a big that's where communication is key in any kind of relationship, whether it's friends, whether it's family or work relationship. It's communication. If you feel some type of way, the only way you can fix it is to let the person know that I'm feeling this way, so that that person can
Yeah.
understand. I'm not saying get into details and say that Carlita is wearing something so nice. Please, can you wear that? Don't do that. But just say, just mention that, you like this type of things, but buy it, whether it's a woman or a man, buy it for your partner, tell them that, I like this. Please wear it. So honesty,
Wait,
100%.
can that be considered by people like you're trying to change me?
That was my
Oh,
point, actually. I'm not sure I
right.
would. For example, for one like, I'm not sure I'm gonna like it.
That is a point to consider, though.
That's
Like,
true. I mean,
That
wait,
is
now
true.
you want me to look like this person?
Yeah.
Who is that?
but I feel like even though it's true, but I think that's the importance of, like, when you're building the relationship, it's also important to figure out what the other person likes and what the other person doesn't like, right? Because if it ends up manifesting later, then he or she probably has, hopefully, told you what they liked or what they didn't like. So it's not a surprise that you didn't know that he liked you to wear sexy things, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Or she wants you to wear, like, tight fitted shirt, or to be at the gym, no bellies, whatever the case may be, So if it comes on later on, if it comes later on in the relationship, then I'm pretty sure it was something that was brushed upon probably later, and you probably thought that, okay, it wasn't gonna be a big deal. It's fine, like, whatever it is, I'll be able to fulfill that, and then it ends up being a problem. So at that particular point, where I believe, he or she has told you what they did like at the beginning, then you should, and you married that person, then you should make a commitment to build and to stay together. And so at that point, I believe you do have to make an effort to please your partner, just like he has to make an effort to please you as well.
Oh, yeah, but that is
different.
For example, you said something that is really true. For example, if you get married and in the beginning that person, for example, you were very sexy and then you turn into someone that was wearing trousers and all the time and blah, blah, blah. There, I agree that if that person comes back and say, yeah, you used to be very sexy and I miss the skirts and all those things, yeah, I agree. However, if you were someone that was into trousers from the very beginning and the guy comes and says, like, yeah, I'm not sure I want you to wear skirts, then that doesn't work. For me, it's not love anymore. So because he's trying to change you, because he married someone that was something and he's looking for something else.
You don't have to change you.
So
you don't have to
that's
change people.
Exactly, and that's very
You don't
tricky.
have to change people. In love, you don't have to change people. You have to compromise. You don't have to change people. You have to deal with, and you have to adapt yourself, because I would say in a relationship you are only one person, because you are two people involved. But at the end of the day, you are one person. You have to share things, and you have to adapt yourself with the person in front of you. That's the things, because if you try to change people, it's gonna make your relationship very badly.
I
we are
disagree a little bit.
Away from the 2 hours. So before you guys go around, let me just do a quick recap. So love is, and you guys just say yes or no to each of those questions I'm going to ask, right? Like a quick round table. Love is communication.
Yes.
Do you guys agree?
For sure.
Okay. Love is trust.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
You fall into love.
Sorry.
Or you grow into love.
We grow
in
into
love, or you
We
grow
grow
into
into
love.
love. Yes.
Okay.
You can do both.
And does love
What do you mean by both?
you can do both.
What do you mean by
You can
We
kind
grow.
of like fall, but
Yeah.
like not from too high or too low. But like you can fall and then grow because when you let yourself fall completely, that is a disaster. Okay, but you have to like kind of like put like your harness on when you're trying to fall, so that you don't fall.
Too high.
But yeah, I think it's a great point.
Fall is a kind of grow, I would say.
Yeah, and I feel like regardless, work needs to be done. You can fall in love, but if you don't maintain that love, it will fall down the drain. or you can grow love, and if you don't keep growing, it will fall down the drain as well. Regardless, it needs to be nurtured.
Wait a minute.
The falling, the growing.
Wait a minute, Nani. What do you mean? We need to know what you mean, Nani. But okay, so let me continue this one said. Does love lie?
Lie?
What do you
No,
No.
you don't lie, love.
Lie.
No lying.
No.
No.
Honesty,
No lying.
100%.
No lying.
What
At
about
all
lying
costs.
to protect?
At all costs.
And I don't mean cheating and protecting. I mean lying to protect, meaning
No, you don't lie.
I say
don't lie.
No.
Yeah,
No,
if you start
that
lying,
never
if you
works.
start lying, it's no love anymore.
No,
I think there's a difference of lie and not say everything.
okay.
Oh
You know,
wow!
Right.
not in the sense of
Yeah,
cheating.
agree.
Not in the sense of cheating.
Not cheating, not
Yeah,
cheating.
not
No.
that. But
Right.
like, you ain't got to be like, "Whoo, boy, you need to get in the gym." No, you ain't got to always say that. You know, you don't always have to say that. There's
Because,
other
for
ways.
example, when the husband doesn't tell the wife that she's gotten fat, that's a lie. You can say you look good, but technically maybe she doesn't look good, right? That's a lie. But
No, you don't say
No,
anything.
y'all are mess.
it's
Y'all are
You
mess, guys.
figure out how to communicate it.
okay.
Right.
I think love will
But you still have
will
to say it,
motivate
though.
you to find
have to say it
another
or
way
not.
to communicate it. Be like,
I'm-
girl, let's get these salads.
That's
You know
right.
what? No, and my husband he does almost the same. I feel when I said I put some weight on, he say, just go and take the scale. He says, so it's not him telling me that I put a weight on.
No, because wait, you see, like there is a different side of not saying everything. Because some people, when they say there is a difference between lying and not saying everything, they're actually not saying you part that you need to know because it involves it kind of involves the fact that you guys are in a relationship and there are some things that you need to know. So later it comes as, oh, you didn't ask.
Mm.
You see what I mean? So for me, there is a fine line about what you mean on this is learning to communicate either when you disagree or when you
Yeah.
have something to say that might not be pleasant.
Yeah.
But like not saying everything and lying, is
No lying.
it
No,
is your lying.
no.
Especially
No,
if
no,
you
no.
know that the person in front of you would make use of that information,
Yeah, but I think there's a difference in
So yeah, so
recognizing
love doesn't lie.
what's useful information versus not saying everything. Like I think you can not say everything, and it's still not. You're still not a liar. I would still say that if somebody asks you a direct question, they'd be like, "Yo, am I getting fat?" and you just like, you know what, man, let's go watch this movie. Okay, that's clearly you not recognizing that this is a time to communicate. This is a time
Right.
to give them what they need. So you get it. You're always going to get your love is like you're recognizing what your partner needs, and if you can supply it, then you're going to give it. So yeah, if you can communicate to them, then that's good. But listen, there'll be times where maybe you look at your partner and they don't look good, but you listen to how their day went, and you listen to how their week is going, and you're like, this is not the time to point this out. I'm not going to say anything right now. I wouldn't call that a lie. I would say that's actually you supporting your partner in what they need.
Great.
You talk to them later and be like, yeah, girl, last week you was looking kind of, when you can both have a laugh about it. And when you can both say, okay, cool. But there's some people, like, I don't know if you guys know the comedian Tony Baker. He's a comedian, and he talked about in his relationships, he says, I like brutal honesty. So he said that up front. So now if his partner does that with him, he ain't got nothing to say because he said, I like brutal honesty. But if I didn't tell you that, there's going to be some times when I want you to say what you got to say till later.
I agree.
I agree totally.
Yeah, but for
I
me,
like
does
brutal
that
honesty
feel like,
as well.
that feel like yeah, but like for me, what you're saying is still like, it's like emotional intelligence, right? So it's not like, and that's where like noise matters. Are you not saying it because you're gonna get in trouble, or you're not saying it because this is not the right moment, but you're still going to say it later. So there's a difference between lying intentionally and just not telling the person from now, like not right now, because maybe you are in the bad mood or this is not going to serve the conversation. Even when you guys disagree on something, like it doesn't make sense that you guys are arguing in front of everybody and that argument could have been held in a private space. You see, it is not like you're not telling the truth. It's just like you are waiting for the right moment to communicate, in a emotionally intense way. But most of the time, when we talk about lying and not saying the truth, it's more like, oh, you know what? In the past, I was arrested for rape, for example, or the kind of information that you need to know that people don't share because they're like, oh, you didn't ask for it. So I didn't lie. You just didn't ask for it. For me, that is where there is like this honesty about like the conversation.
You have to be
Right?
honest, and and you have to choose a word. You have to choose the right word to say when you have to say something. When you have to tell the truth, you have to choose the best word you're gonna say to people in front of you or your partner or something like that. Because sometimes I agree with Donovan. You have to think about when you're gonna say something or when you're gonna tell the truth, because it's not about lying, but it's about to pick up the right word to say to your wife or your husband or your partner or your or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, just to figure out what is the best way to say that. Because sometimes the truth is about to you have to tell the truth, but sometimes you have to take time or pick up the right moment to take the yet to say.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my thing. Yeah. But but the thing is, you have to say,
Oh,
you
sister.
have to tell the truth, because I would say, for my opinion, I would say if someone loves you, he's going to tell you the truth.
Dominique
Because
is joined.
if someone don't tell you the truth, he doesn't love you. The only people who can tell you the truth, the only people is love you.
Hi,
Hi guys.
Hello.
that's very true too. Hi, you
Sorry
doing?
for my tardiness. I had a meeting that just ran
Thank
over.
you for joining.
Yay!
That's all right. That's all right. What do you think about all this conversation that we've been having?
I mean, I agree. I agree that timing is everything. And I think timing is everything in any love relationship. I think parent to children, when we're, having something to say to them, to discuss, your timing is everything. And it takes, like you said, Carlita, emotional intelligence, right? And understanding that, something happened. Yes, I want to erupt right now, but I'm going to refrain my immediate reaction and forfeit it for a delayed response, right? I don't think that every reaction warrants a response in the moment. Sometimes you get something and then you're like, you know what? I'm just going to pause for your sake. Because if I say something right now, it may not be the right thing and it may hurt you but again, it takes emotional intelligence to, so I think it's important for us to work on our emotional intelligence as just people.
But I think like
Especially, go ahead.
Getting back to love. Getting back to love. For me, I know that I'm doing that just for people I love. If it's someone from work, I'll do it on work purpose. But if that person is just like, I don't want to feel like talking to that person, I'm just going to go ahead and just not do it. Whereas at home, I know I'm doing it because I love the person. It's just about love. And I know it's something that differentiates my relationship with my husband from other people. Because whenever I'm really mad, as you say, I step back and work on my feelings first before coming back to him.
Yeah.
That's very nice. I think some people don't have, in a sense, maybe that they weren't brought up that way to be able to kind of like pause. Some people are just, so impulsive. They're like, okay, like I just need to tell you what I mean right now and then. So it's so great that, you were able to, you kind of, it's instantaneous for you. But I know for some people, it's like a little harder to be able to, kind of withhold themselves a little bit and find the right time and the right words to express whatever they feel to their partner, their husband and boyfriend or girlfriend. And it is
Agreed. That
important.
takes maturity.
I
Though.
agree.
It takes maturity and
That's because I love him.
experience too. I think.
I mean, when
Yeah.
you say Adisa,
And
instantaneous,
I also think that
work through that. I've had to learn to do that, right? I've had to grow. I've had to fail, messed up, and said things that is hard to take back, right? I mean, how many of us have said things that it's hard to take back? But I think in love relationships, it's not easy. And so you have to equip yourself. We don't have a handbook. You have to equip yourself with the tools to succeed, right? In any loving relationship. Because if you don't step outside of your environment, which is what you know, how you were brought up, which is what you just said, Adisa, how you were brought up, you don't know what you don't know. And it's your responsibility to say, oh, wow, I'm in this relationship. It's not working out. Are there anything that I can bring to the table? Like the psychologists say, there's mirroring, right? Where it's like, what I hear you saying is, so I'm having a conversation and let's say you say something and then I just fly off. It's better to stop and say, okay, so what I hear you saying is, and then I have a really good friend. She says something, she's a body language expert. She says that it's better to be interested and not interesting, right? So a lot of times we want to be interesting. But if Carlita says something to me like, oh, I found my husband was on Tinder last night and I just found out that he was on Tinder. Now I could have two responses. Like, I can't believe he was on Tinder. He's so ungrateful. You need to leave him. Or I can say, oh my gosh, he was on Tinder. So what I hear you saying is that he was on Tinder and that's making you upset. What else is happening for you? Right? And then you can say, my dad cheated on my mom. And so now that brings me back to that. Oh, I'm so sorry your dad cheated on your mom. What else is happening for you? Right? Because there's sub layers to our emotions, right? So we can have anger, and anger, I think, is a secondary emotion to fear and anxiety. Right? It's a secondary emotion, but you see somebody and you're responding to the anger when it's, what are you afraid of? Or what's making you feel anxious? And those are things I wasn't born with. I had to equip myself and learn and get the tools to have successful relationships.
Yeah, it's very important. I think emotional intelligence does not just happen. I think it happens with first the desire to learn about others, but also when you grow in love with yourself and you understand what compassion is and what having grace is for yourself first. Because what we tend to do is that we have a lot of grace for other people, but not enough for ourselves. But when you start with you, then it is easier to extend the favor to others. Versus when you are expecting it from other people and you are not the person or that example that you are expecting people to be in your life. So I think it's very important, even when it comes to like choosing the right partner, the right friend, the right, whatever it is that you have the choice on that is not your family, that you want around you in a circle, to understand that you have to look for people who are what they expect you to be. If we all have expectations, we just cannot pretend that we don't have expectations, right? Whatever those expectations are. But like, you have to be sure to walk around people to other than that, I think it is very complicated to ask people for people to do things that you yourself you don't give. If you're not giving compassion, if you're not giving the listening ear, if you're not giving a compliment, if you're not giving friendship, loyalty, and trust, and building trust, you cannot expect people to do that with you. So some of the things that we have failed when it comes to love and relationship, is it because we ourselves were not ready for relationship, or we didn't know how to love ourselves? Like, if you guys look at all of your relationships, right, that some of them that didn't work, it's easy for us to blame the other person. Like, where do you feel like you as a person in some of the relationships have failed?
Sorry, say it one more time. That
Yeah,
last part. The last part.
I think like if you look at all your relationship, for example, and there are some of the relationship where it's not the person who failed us, it's we who failed the person because maybe we were not ready or we were not mature enough or we didn't know how to hold our tongue or how to be patient or how to listen and we missed a lot of the steps or we did a lot of the mistakes that I was saying earlier. We got the number or we smiled too long, all those things and the relationship fell. Like I cannot blame all the falling relationship on the partner, right? We all have like shared responsibility. So if you guys look at like the different kind of relationship that you guys had and didn't work, like where do you think that you failed in some of those relationships?
Mistaking love when it was not really love. Sometimes I think sometimes it did happen.
I think it's great that you developed that because we're talking about what love is. So how do you know what something is not love?
I think you just realized afterwards. It's like maybe because when you find real love afterwards, you realize that it was not love. That's the way of saying it. I'm sorry for myself. That's how I learned it. Because I realized afterwards that I was not able to give as much as those people were expecting from me. Whereas now I was ready to give all I had to be with that person that was so different. So some people expected me to do some stuff that I was not ready to do. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And that's where I knew it was not real love. Because for me, at some point, you have to be ready to go above and beyond for that person. That's what's
So what you're saying, Jenaba, is that love is sacrificial.
It's not about sacrificial. It's just like being, I don't even know how to say it. It's just like, because
being connected.
You're ready to give all that you have.
Being connected.
It's not being because as I told you earlier, I still try to love myself more than I love the other because I think it's important just for the sake of being able, as I said earlier, to be faithful to me and be faithful to that person I love. I think I need to love myself enough. So I have to be like, in a sense where there are some things that I think that I thought were crucial to me, and those things were like my core values, and some stuff that I was like I will never give those things up because they are so important to me, and I've realized they were not that important. You know what I mean?
With the right person.
With the right person. So I was not ready to give up some stuff, and so I realized that afterward that was not really important because for that person I was ready to do it. That's the thing for me. That makes a difference.
So
between
having the right
someone
person
I really
does
liked.
help.
It does help because sometimes you are scared of some stuff, and because you are with the right person, all the things you were afraid of just disappears, and it's also about love. I was scared of having kids.
Interesting.
And when you find the right person, then you're ready. That's also why I tell some of my friends that tells me they don't want kids, and they are in a relationship. I said, I'm not sure you were the right person and most of them it did happen like that. They were not ready to have kids, and when they moved on and were with someone else,
found the right person.
They found the right person. All those scary things disappeared, and they were ready to have kids. And that's why also I think that you can be in love and fall out of love as well. So that's so different thing. So how I feel.
So love protects and love makes you feel safe.
Yes.
How about you guys? Where do you think that you have failed in some of those past relationships?
Yeah, I'll jump in on the readiness.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Awa.
Oh, okay. So for me, it was more like maturity and patience.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
especially patient.
So love is patient.
Yeah.
Love is patient, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
But in the
Because
same
you
time, do
have
you
to be
think
patient and be able to work hard towards your relationship.
yeah. Don't you?
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually am going. I would go right in exactly in line with that because the way what I explained to my wife when we got married, you know, I probably could have found a better way to say this, but I said, I say you need to thank all my previous girlfriends because they got me prepared to be ready for you. You know, that's what I said because through all of
Talking
those
about choosing the right
relationships.
word.
I know. That was not probably the best way to say it, but what the point that I was making is, in each of those relationships, I discovered what I needed to fix about myself and about my thinking about love and how to love another person. My expectations changed based on that, and my behaviors changed based on like reflections of those past relationships. So by the time I got to my wife and got to the point where I was ready to commit to her, I think it was just exactly that. It was now I've matured into the person that understands what this commitment is about and is making an educated decision to move forward in this. So it's not just driven by like a feeling at the time. It's not just driven by the optics of something, but it's actually, got some reflection and some reference points into it. So I could say, yeah, I'm ready to do this, so that I can get to the point where, like we were just talking about, you get angry and you're like, I'm not gonna pick up and go. I'd be like, nah, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. No, it's
Yeah.
you say, no, this is worth it. This relationship is worth it, and I'm ready to take whatever the patience that it
To
needs
work
to
on it.
get to working on it. Yeah.
Wilfred? We have 2 hours, so we're coming close to the conclusion, so we're going to try to be more succinct in our conversation.
For me, love is respect, honesty, belief, and strong. And also, I would say you have to when you love someone, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to respect you have to respect their value, their principle, and you have to try to mix your expectation or your value with our value or his value, and then to mix together to make it once.
So
And
is
also,
that your answer or your conclusion? Is that your answer about like my question about where did you feel like you failed in previous relationships before we come to the conclusion? Because I'm gonna ask what.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel I fail. I don't know. I would say in my previous relationship, I would say.
Time, because you always win in relationships, huh?
Yeah, but I know. I would say. Yeah, I would say.
Oh.
Relationship is like responsibility. We have to take your responsibility of your failure and of your success, because it's balancing. Because when you get in relationship, you have sometimes you are successful, sometimes you are failure, right? You have to be responsible for that. I can't hear you.
She's taking some of the feelings that she had for. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, go ahead.
Hear me now? Okay.
Yep.
So let's go straight to the point, Wilfred. Like for Jana, it was the fact that she mistaken some of the feelings that she had for love, and then she realized it was not love. For Doris, it was the fact that he was not prepared, she was not ready. For Awa, she was not patient enough. What is your downfall in previous relationship that you felt like you failed at, and that now you have, of course, like grown grown better and improved in, that is helping you kind of sustain this new relationship that you have? Like, what are some of the mistakes that you made in the past in terms of relationship?
Yeah, for my mistake, I would say I didn't take time. I didn't take time to know more people, or to know better my partner, my previous partner. I didn't take time for that. This is for my previous relationship. I didn't take time to understand their value, their feelings, or their expectation. Yeah, I didn't take time to
Okay.
analyze that, and to this is my on my own. I didn't take time to
Okay.
to get to know that, get to know more, to get to more
Okay.
deeply
Got it.
about it. Yeah, that's my thing.
Got it. Dominique?
So I have two. I would say one of my relationships, I think what Wilfred said, I didn't take time to know who I was getting involved with. And before I made the decision to get involved. And so we were misaligned in our thoughts, our core values, etc. And then another one that comes to mind, and the lesson that I learned, is that your feelings are not facts. You know, they're just your feelings. And so I had the tendency of putting so much weight on how I felt about a thing. Like, you made me feel X. And so then if they say, well, was not my intention, but I focused on, but that's how I feel. So I gave my feelings a lot more weight than I do today. I don't really, I say, okay, I give it the space that it needs, but I don't let my feelings rule me. I may say, if I feel a certain emotion, I'll give it a time frame. I'll say, okay, I'm going to feel this for 30 minutes, and then that's it. Because at the end of the day, it's not fact, right? It can be, but it cannot be as well, right? So they're just my feelings. So I compartmentalize.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Alisa?
Yeah, for me, it was not being confident enough, which also led to not loving myself and not trusting myself, which kind of manifested in maybe staying in a relationship for too long, knowing that it wasn't going anywhere, knowing that everything was misaligned, right? And I think, I think you touch upon, very important point about, making sure that you do love yourself and you know who you are as a person, because that can lead into you maybe depending too much on the other person to make you feel great, or to make you feel loved, or to make you feel this. And when that doesn't happen, it ends up being, impacting the relationship in different ways, right? And you ended up being hurt, and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So definitely, confidence was a huge issue in my past relationship, and not loving myself enough, and not trusting myself, and who I am at the core. And once you get that, and you're able to kind of tell yourself, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, this is the standard that I hold myself to. You're able to navigate a little better your relationship in the future.
And for me, I would say it was like jumping right on that wagon with you, Alisa. It was the fact that I didn't take time to heal, first of all, and to learn who I was. So I didn't take time to know what was important for me, and to validate myself, and to learn to love myself. I was expecting validation, and I was expecting the other person to make me feel good about who I was, or to make me feel loved. And I didn't know how to love. Important to even watching this today, not to run from one relationship to another relationship, but like to take time really when something keep repeating itself, and you kind of see a pattern of you're always choosing the wrong person. Like, why is it always the same thing happening? It's not people, it's actually coming from us. Or like from the fact that, okay, I needed to take time to first of all decipher what's going wrong with me, what's wrong with me, not in the term like that is like blaming or whatever, but like really like something must not be like right with me, because making the same mistake over and over. And like we said earlier, like if you make a mistake once, it's great. But like if you keep making the same mistake, then you have to question yourself about like why is that happening so often. So I think taking time to heal from my personal traumas, either it was, whatever those traumas was, personal, family, previous relationship, or whatever it is. And while I was doing that, learning who Carlita is, not who people say Carlita is, or who people expect Carlita to be. Like, who is Carlita for herself? What does she like without anybody caring? What does she don't like? Like, can she hang with herself? Can she be with herself and have fun by herself without needing anybody around her to validate or to make her feel good? So I needed to go through all those. So that for me was like some of the lessons that I've learned from my past relationship. And again, like we have a few more minutes, and I see that Louis is in the chat. He said hi earlier. Yeah, we're missing the spice and the fire from you.
Right.
You have your own thing. but yeah, love. Louis saying love is a decision, which I think I agree with. But let's do this as a conclusion, to round up and conclude. We're gonna do a round table, and you guys gonna tell me love is, and use 3 words, not a sentence, not just 3 words. Love is this, love is this, and love is that. No explanation, nothing. So I want to hear from you guys. Who wants to start?
I can start. Janaba, go ahead.
No, I'm not starting. Let's give it to you.
Wilfred, go ahead.
I know you're excited to say something. Just say it.
I'm just thinking. I still haven't found my words.
Okay.
I'll process it.
I would say in maybe more than 3 words. I would say love is.
No 3 words. That's again.
Okay.
3 words.
It's hard.
Let's do this. All right.
I know it's hard. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. In 3 words, I would say love is respect, honesty, and action. That's it.
Great. Good job. Respect, honesty, and action. Who's next?
I can go next.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
3 words. Okay, love is commitment, affection, and trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's next? So commitment, affection, and trust.
I go next. I say I agree. Commitment, a choice, and action.
Commitment, a choice, and action. Okay.
I can go.
Dominique, Adisa.
Me? Can I go?
Adisa.
It's
Oh,
so
Go
hard
ahead,
to,
Geneva.
Adisa.
hard to stick with 3 words, and I'm like, rattling my head.
Me
I
too.
would say love is
I know.
loyalty.
That's good.
Loyalty. Sometimes I interchangeably even use loyalty and love, because sometimes even when you don't love or like the person, when you're loyal, you're with it. That's it. You're there. You know what not to do and what to do. So I definitely think love is loyalty. Love is truthfulness, and it's also beautiful. I'll say that.
That was my word.
Loyalty, truthfulness, beautiful.
Okay.
I have
So,
love is
Who's
passionate.
next?
Love is passionate, beautiful,
Okay.
and restraining.
Is it?
Oh.
Oh, I don't feel.
Restraining. Wow, that's interesting. That's
don't agree at all with
interesting.
that
Like
restraining.
I would like to disagree to that, but like the restraining part,
Be-
I'm
That's
like,
another conversation. That's another
let's talk
conversation.
about it. That's a whole
Training.
conversation.
Wow.
Training, yeah.
Stop. It's tough.
Okay.
That's strong.
So
But I mean,
Yeah.
I
I'm going last.
Yeah.
could restraining be seen
For
as
me-
self-control? Because
That's what I think. It's restraining
self-control,
self-control.
right?
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
to have it.
You shouldn't do anything because you want to, because one day your feelings could change, but it's restraining yourself to a certain degree.
My
obviously,
sister gets
I don't do at all. No.
Okay.
Because for me, restraining is refraining something that you really want to. And
no.
if you are really
Not
in
in a
love,
bad
you
way.
should not be feeling like that. For me, that's
No, and then, but it could be the opposite. You can restrain yourself from blowing up. Because you love this person.
Mhm.
I don't do certain things because I don't want you to feel a certain way because I love you. So I'm like, you know what? I could play this game or this trick, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna restrain from certain behaviors.
Yeah, that's why I'm different. For me,
Is
it's different
that
because
restraining?
it's like
or is that
it's not
respecting
restraint.
or honoring? Because that's two different things.
That's what I'm telling you.
I think I restrain from behaving a certain way because I love you. I think when I go into, let's say, into a fleshly response, I'm not gonna do it because of my love for you. I can
This kind of respect. This kind of respect, right? This kind of respect.
but I think it's harnessed. I think love, you need to harness some things because of love. That's just me, y'all.
Okay.
You, yeah.
Right. That's just
We said
those are your perfect words.
we got you. We
I'm
got
not
you.
saying 50 Shades kind of harness. I'm not saying 50 Shades. I'm not saying chains and belts.
I
Change the world. You change the world. Go ahead. Go for that. Change the world.
Okay, so it's me now. So for me, love should be peace.
Yeah.
Love to be what?
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, peace. All right.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
For me, it's very important. If there's no peace in the relationship, no, it should be peace.
Okay, so peace.
So-
Then about 3 words. Peace,
Respect
respect,
as well, and work.
work. Wow. Okay. Woo.
Wow.
For
I think we're
me,
all right.
I think
Sorry.
I think we're all right, meaning there's no set definition.
All right. Exactly.
I feel like we're all right. We should just put all
Yeah.
these words in
no,
one
everybody's
bind.
right together. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, everybody's right.
No one
And
wants
for
to
me, here's the thing.
No,
Carlita, you haven't answered your own question.
That's what I was gonna do.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead now.
Here are my 3 words. So love is honor, growth, and engagement. Those 3 words.
Yeah.
that's good.
We hear you.
Growth.
Okay, we hear you.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, honor,
Okay.
engagement, and what was the third one?
Growth.
Growth.
Oh, I forgot.
Growth.
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 Yeah. Growth. Because growth requires a commitment. You have to commit to be hurt and then move past the part where it hurt. But okay, I need to grow past this thing.
That's restraint.
And so it.
That's restraint.
I mean, I wouldn't use that word restrain because I'm all about my freedom. And when you start saying restrain, and
No,
you
we don't
can't
like this
do
word. We don't
that's
like this word,
exactly what I'm
Dominique. We
gonna do.
don't like it. We don't like this
No,
word.
Dominique,
We are
you don't like
dealing
it
with
like
this
it.
word. It's too strong for us.
Okay. We get rid
It's
of that.
training. It's too strong.
Okay. I'm gonna change the word. If spicy, what is spicy?
Yeah,
thing?
you have a pass to change the word.
You can't win, sister. You can't win.
What? Okay.
Yeah, we're waiting for Louis. Yeah, but I think I agree with like a theme to that says that love is respect, trust, and action. You're right.
That's my word. That's
Nali,
my
what is
word.
love for
I'm
you?
a winner.
I wanna
I'm
hear
a
from you
winner. That's
guys.
my word.
Oh my God, it was
Love is not about winning. Love is not about winning. That's very important.
What about winning? I know.
It's not about winning in a relationship and love. Never.
Interesting. Never.
You don't
Interesting.
never win.
I think that is the most important thing. So too bad we couldn't hear from Nali and Louis. They were not able to join today. Nali was having internet connection, and I believe we had another engagement or didn't make it on time. But guys, like I think this was a great conversation. The funny thing with this panel is that depending on what we're talking about and how the conversation goes, we take a subject and we never know really what we're going to be talking about until we start talking about it. So I think this is a great way of engaging. So bottom line, I think love is a lot of things, but what I want to what my takeaways from tonight will be that love is not restraining. just to tease Dominic a little bit, right? Love should be able to let you be your own person, and love should honor you. Love should not lie to you. Love should not cheat on you.
Wow.
And love, like you grow in love and you don't fall in love. That would be my takeaway. What are you guys takeaway before we as a conclusion? What are you guys taking away from this conversation?
Okay, so I'm gonna change my word. Love is forgiving.
Forgiving.
Yes.
Why?
Do you not like forgiving? Yes.
Are you
No,
thinking
yeah,
about
like forgiving.
are you thinking about planning for mistake or something like that? Because you are thinking about forgiving
Oh my
first.
God, that's a
What
whole
does that
different
mean?
conversation.
What does that mean,
That's a
Dominique?
whole-
Just say it's another conversation. We're gonna just talk about it.
I'm gonna call you the mixer. So when
Spicy. Let's put it. Let's put a little spicy in there.
Your word is mixer, Wilfred. He's just mixing it up. So my takeaway is that love is many things. But at the end of the day, love is what you make it. The individual.
Oh my God, that is so deep.
Yeah, it is deep.
I had to clean it up.
Love is what you make it. Wow. Love is what you make it. I like that. That's great, Dominique. Everybody else, who else is want to share their takeaways from today?
I would say for me. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I would say for me, from everything, the takeaway is that it is not perfect. It's something that is built upon. So it's not perfect, and it is built upon. Over time, it gets stronger, and with God's grace, you can stay together. But yeah.
Amen to that. Amen to that. How are you going to be next?
So yeah, I've learned a lot actually today. I know that, like I said, it's work. If you want to be together, if you want to have great relationship, whether it's love or friendship, you have to communicate as much as you can. You have to be 100% honesty is very important. That's how you build trust. And I've also learned from Dominic. She said something very, very, very important for me, which are feelings. Because sometimes you'll be feeling some type of way while the other person it didn't mean to make you feel that way. So working on your own feelings is very important. I've learned that today, and thank you because I've been struggling with that. I've been like, why putting so much weight into something that doesn't exist? You know, it's gonna help a lot going forward.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Don't give too
Right.
much power to your feelings.
Yeah.
in love, in any kind of relationship, I think it's important not to give too much power to your feelings because they can lead
True.
you in a very like bad direction. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dominique.
another way of saying it, you can say don't give your pain a voice.
Yeah.
So you don't give your pain a voice. And so when the pain comes, you experience it, but you're not constantly giving it a voice. Because the more you give it a voice, the more power you give it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or you find
Okay.
this, or you can find someone to talk about that beside the person you're angry.
That's
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's my way of dealing with that shit.
I like that. I like that. She's like, I say it, I just don't say it to him.
I love
I
it.
have my sister is like my go-to person whenever like, oh gosh, I think I'm gonna slap him, and I am her go-to person as well. So when she's like, oh, I'm gonna kill him, so she calls me, and so we have a chit chat, and then it's all gone, and then we can go back and talk to them like in a more like adult way, we will say. So it
Yeah.
does look like that.
We bring the conversation to why you need a circle. You need a
Sorry?
circle of friends. I
Yeah,
think
friends,
which brings
like
us a conversation that we can have another time. Let's talk about it. Is what is important for if you are in a relationship for each individual to have their own circle of friends and not the kind of relationship that isolates you from your friends is very unhealthy. So I think it's
yeah.
very great that you brought that up, Geneva.
So it's just like it's not only about it's just not to have someone have a feedback for someone. It's just about just like letting it out
Mm.
so that you're ready to have
The
a
safe place.
conversation afterwards. Like you spit
Yeah,
out,
it's a safe place. Yeah,
then just
yeah.
move on.
So what are your takeaways, Geneva, for tonight?
I love the fact that I really like the view of Adisa. This was very genuine. I loved it. And because basically, I love the way that she still feels about love. It's very nice.
Mm.
And it's interesting um, because basically I'm very rational person, and you had like thrown something else into my thinking. That's nice as well. I loved it. It's very more
Nice.
sweet, more like kind. I love that. It's nice. Very
Nice.
genuine. I love it. Very nice way of thinking. And I hope that you will
That
find
is so.
that way of that you found, or maybe that love, that type of love. It's very important. And I think, and that what Dominic has said earlier as well, that everybody has a way of loving, and if you stick to what you believe in, and I think you will have that person that loves you the same way. It's also something that you need to stick with.
Mm.
Mm.
Don't lower yourself.
Amen to that.
Absolutely.
um.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And just like one last
I'm
thing,
gonna
last
get
thing.
your takeaway from tonight, and then go ahead,
Can I just
Geneva.
one thing? Because I forgot to mention, because also I was saying like when I always thought about the way love was like my kind of thinking, and when I saw the way Adisa was talking about it, and I also have someone else in my relation that's really like a merger in their relationship, the way she loves a person, and I'm growing while hearing those people, and I liked it.
Yay. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is
That's
awesome.
amazing. I like it. I like it. Wilfred, you on mute. We can hear you.
Me? It's my turn?
What are your
There you go.
takeaways? Yeah, what are your takeaways for tonight?
I would say, first of all, thank you for everyone to being here. And I've heard a lot and I've learned a lot. That was very great, very awesome, like always. And I would say, in love, you can't be only a talker. In love, you should be a talker and a doer.
That's good.
That's my word.
Boom.
and a listener as well.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. I agree. It's spicy,
Yeah,
but I agree.
yeah.
Totally
I was
agree with
gonna
that.
say,
That was
Yeah,
spicy.
that was
especially
spicy. That
that
was
you told
spicy.
us,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Our
That
is
was
very
spicy,
sharp.
but yeah,
She's
I
very
got it.
sharp.
I got it.
Like,
I got it. Yeah. One more word. One more word. Yeah. Talker, doer, and listener.
I
Yeah.
was thinking it, but I was like, okay.
I
But
got
I
you. I
was just
got you.
threw it out there,
I
like,
got you.
oh
I
no,
got
I'm
you.
just gonna say it. So Donovan, what is your takeaway for tonight conversation?
Yeah, I think I would say my takeaway is that love is multifaceted. I think one of the things that happens when people start to think about love, especially early on, they have one idea and then they go for that. And anything that's a variation of that, it's kind of like shatters them because they're just not prepared to have a broader way of thinking about love. And that's, so I think if you can get in that in your mind the idea that love is multifaceted, that there are many ways that it is expressed, articulated, experienced, then you have a better chance of sticking with a relationship and working through it versus jumping ship. So I think that would be
Yeah,
my offering. Yeah.
yeah, and I will
Absolutely.
agree to that as well. I will agree to that just by finishing off what I think my big takeaway for tonight is just like Dominique said, is like love is what you make it, but like what you make it coming from a healthy place, right? Not what you make it when it comes to like you don't know who you are and then you're trying to make it work. But like love should make you happy. Love should make you grow. Love should make you, sparkle. That's why I say like so love is what you make it as long as joy and happiness is involved, throughout all the journey of you growing in love. So that would be my takeaway because there is not one way to love. There is like multiple, as many ways to love that there are people. And so what is valuable, or what love is for me is not what it is for Adisa. We saw it tonight. It's not what it is for Jennifer. But the most important thing that I think love is for everybody is joy and happiness and fulfillment. So once you have that, everything else is whatever you make it, just like Dominic said. And like Dondi says, it's multifaceted. And like Jennifer said, like, you have to be open-minded to it. And just like I used to say, it is work. So you have to, grow into it. And like I would say, it's patience. So it's all those things. And Wilfred said is respect. So all those things is love. But at the heart of it is you sparkling, is you finding joy in the midst of even the worst situation because you know that you love yourself and that you love the other people. But I think the journey for me start with you loving yourself, which is the healthiest place you can love from. So I thank you all of you guys for your time tonight and for being available. Thank you guys in the comments and Esteem who was like with us, all the way. And then we hope to see you in 2 weeks if you are English speaker, and next week if you are a French speaker. And I think the French conversation last week was just like, I mean, amazing. And the part two of it is going to be great. We were supposed to talk about like what love is in French, but we're going to talk about something else because when we were ending the conversation last time, and I think that that'll be a subject as well for us in English here, is like, can we say everything to children, right? And we came about like talking about like sexuality to children and all those things, and most importantly, talking about the how do you know the children being abused. So I think that should definitely be our conversation next time on Let's Talk About It. But like looking forward to it. Thank you guys for your time. This was great. It's just friends hanging out and having conversations that we just share with everybody else. So that's great. I'll see you guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Stay
Good
safe.
night.
Bye-bye.